So here in the Northeast, and specifically where I am in New York, we have a huge snowstorm coming. And I should probably be responsible in being outside right now on the walkway, laying down salt. But I decided instead to make a video. So you can tell my priorities are in order for this channel. And so this first comic book review I'm going to be doing on the channel I think is very fitting because it's a book that I normally wouldn't think to get, and it's a character that it's not one of the main characters that instantly comes to your mind when you think about superheroes. And but people rave about the book. It's very popular, and it is of course none other than Mr. Miracle by writer Tom King and artist Mitch Gerards. And this book deals with a lot of themes of mental health, distress, trauma. So I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts of the book. I'm going to keep it spoiler free for now. Let's talk about it. So first of all, in reading this book, I can definitely tell that this is a book that if I read it just straight through normally, I might have some issues absorbing and really finding out some of the themes and really what's going on in the story. But I found since I started this channel, I'm really taking my time. I'm absorbing every panel, every text bubble. I'm really kind of just, I don't know what the word is, just letting it soak in more than I normally would have. So in the story, there's this main conflict going on that our main character, Mr. Miracle, is in the middle of. And it's a war, and he's obviously on one side of it. And the people, I won't say who, opposing him, they face him with a conflict in how they could negotiate a peace deal and end this war. And this sort of leads into something that I really love about this book is that there's so many, it's almost on every single issue, people would call it slice of life, where with the main story that's going on, King writes it such that you could really relate to this guy who's in this fantasy world, what he's going through on a day-to-day basis. And he ends up being faced with this choice. And it's something that involves someone very close to him. And without any spoilers, you kind of see how he's conflicted with how he could put an end to this war that's going on. And it's very human how it's portrayed in the book. And it's something that I can say to myself, if I was in that person's shoes, I think I would have gone through the exact same conflict. And that's something that I've never really read in comics before, where I say, like, I definitely could have seen that being me. Like, I could have been in that situation. I could have been having these thoughts. And I think that's just something added to this reading experience that was really enjoyable. So another little added nugget that goes on throughout this book is throughout the issues, there's this space saved for a panel that shows this phrase. And I won't say what the phrase is. And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm getting what the phrase is saying, kind of getting what it really means. But it's not until the very last issue, almost the very last panel, where the phrase is repeated again, but you completely get what it actually means. And I thought that was kind of rewarding at the very end of the book. Okay, so who is this book for? I would say this book is for somebody who doesn't like a lot of text in their comic books. If you like really whippy, quick, fast dialogue, you'll love this book. And like I was saying before, if you just like slice of life, relatable to your life storytelling, this book is for you. There's a whole issue where one of the characters is going through a pregnancy, and I myself, I've experienced it, so I was getting a real kick out of how they showed that whole journey from getting to the hospital to having the baby. So, my favorite moment from the book, and I'm going to cheat because there's two, I have to say it. And the first moment was Mr. Miracle. He's somewhere, doesn't really matter, and he's going to the bathroom and he's being chaperoned by another character. And they're both using the bathroom, and the other character starts talking about how in his lifetime in the past he had a relationship with Leonardo da Vinci or somebody, yeah. And he's going on and on and on talking about this, giving Mr. Miracle backstory on how their relationship was. And Mr. Miracle was like, well, why are you telling me this? And the other character's like, you know what, I have to be honest. I just made all that up. It's a complete lie. And he's like, then why would you say all this with such detail and ramble on? And he's like, well, when you're having a pee with the Son of God, you got to kind of have something interesting to say, which was, I don't laugh out loud a lot when I'm reading these books, but I definitely did in that moment. And the second moment, it wasn't a comedy moment. It was this scene where Mr. Miracle goes to Party City, and a store kind of like a Party City, and he's got to get something, and he goes to the cashier register, and he randomly tells this worker his dilemma, whereas the worker's kind of like, why are you telling me that? And Mr. Miracle, he basically tells Mr. Miracle this like really deep thought that kind of gives him clarity and gives him the answer he's been looking for. And it was a moment that came out of nowhere, because I didn't think in this random store that Mr. Miracle was going to, he would somehow find the answer. And it was really deep, and it made me think of things in my own life that, again, you relate to. That's another theme throughout this book. I think you will find something that you are going to relate to. So let me know your thoughts. Have you read Mr. Miracle? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you have any other suggestions for books sort of like Mr. Miracle that you could suggest to me? Please let me know in the comments below. With that being said, I want to just talk briefly about some other things that I've been reading. So it kind of started it last year, and I'm continuing it into this year. But last year I started Uncanny X-Men Volume number 1. I read Volume 1, 2, and I just finished up 3. And oh my God, is it boring. I know that's such a hot take and blasphemy almost, but I've struggled so much. I love the characters, but I struggled so much with the text and the writing and just some of the stories, like they're in outer space. And that's not what I think of when I think of X-Men. I think of ground level. I think of them in the X-Mansion. And Professor X, he's in space with Lilandra, some goddess up there, and it's just like, it doesn't feel kind of like what I like about X-Men. I posted in Reddit about my thoughts on it, and people were like, you got to give it a chance. You don't have to necessarily read the exposition, the yellow bubbling for every panel. And I said, like, Wolverine is in almost every single page when he's facing his foe, he's telling them about his adamantium claws, and these are claws, they're impenetrable. And I'm like, Wolverine, I get it. I know. But of course, I remind myself that these issues back then in the 70s and the 80s, they were meant for new readers who came in. So when I took that knowledge and I said, okay, don't got to read every single exposition in these pages, it kind of is flowing a little better. I started X-Men, Uncanny X-Men Volume 4 today. So I'm going through that. It seems like we're back in ground level. We're in New York City now. I think the space stuff is going to have a little bit of a break from it. So that's cool. So I'm going to continue on in that. And let's see, what else did I read? I just finished up this year The Incredible Hulk by Peter David, Volume 1. Later this year, they're coming out with another Hulk book in May. I forget the guy's name. I apologize. But I told myself in October, I want to read Immortal Hulk. And I've heard nothing but rave reviews about that one, that it's almost like a horror novel. So I wanted to have a little more background on the character, and everybody talks that this is the place to start. So I read that, and it was good. I felt like it did flow a little easier than the early Uncanny X-Men stuff. Grey Hulk, which is different. I'm still not sure why that's a thing. I'm not sure if reading earlier stuff I would have known, or if that answer is coming. So I'm waiting for that, and I'm going to start volume 2 at some point down the line. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Hulk somehow ends up in Las Vegas as a mob boss's kind of muscle, which I didn't see that coming. But I'm going to continue on with it for sure. And that's what we got going on right now. So finally, just to conclude this video, while we're on the topic of all things comics, I've currently been doing a rewatch of the MCU leading up to Doomsday at the end of the year, which of course I'm very excited for. And believe it or not, most of these movies I've only seen once, and these were obviously when they came out. So I'm sort of watching it with a fresh eye. I just finished Thor #1, and I thought it was so good, so entertaining. Dare I say, just as good as Iron Man 1. I don't know. I have to think about it. But I loved how Thor was Thor. He was 90% serious. I've got to do this. I've got to get back to Asgard. Like all that stuff. And 10% comedic Thor, which, if you saw Thor Love and Thunder, it was like complete opposite. It was like 90% goofball stuff, 10% serious. I don't even know if there was any moment in that movie where he was serious, but that wasn't for me. This Thor #1, this was awesome, and I hope going back into Doomsday, we get more of that, and judging by some of the teasers we've seen, I think we are. What else? So something I've never done before, and I finally just did it this week. I went into my local comic shop, which I only honestly ever go if maybe once a year, where there's something that comes out and I'm like, you know what, I think I'd want to own that #1 and just hold on to it because I like the character or the art or something. But Absolute Batman, I mean, that thing is hot right now. I've only read one issue, and that issue was awesome. And I told myself, I'm going to hold up. I don't want it. I don't want to read it. When I read it, I want it to be in a big ass omnibus, or even an Absolute someday. Absolute Batman. And I found that I am in waiting. It's going to be way too long. And I see all these YouTube videos of people talking about the story. And I'm like, damn, it would be so nice to be sort of present with that comic and in the discussion while it's going on. I mean, could you imagine being around when Amazing Spider-Man first started, or Fantastic Four, and getting that monthly and talking to people? I mean, at those days, it would be you talking to them at the corner and just talking to them while that was happening. And I'm like, I want that feeling. I want that sense of community. So I said to my local comic shop, I said, hey, I want to do a pull list. And this is the first pull list I've ever had. And I'm excited. So I'm getting I think issue 16 on Wednesday. I've got the DC app. I'm going to read that quick. I'm going to try to get up to speed, and I'm going to do this thing monthly. And I can't wait, and it should be fun. But I think that's all I have for you guys today. This was really freeing talking about comic books like this. You know, there's not a lot of people in my life that are passionate about these stories with pictures. It's so much fun. Every book is different in its own unique, special way. And that really resonates with me. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.